Henrik, welcome to the New Process podcast. Yes, thank you very much. First of all, thanks for recording this in German since it's vacation time.
Yeah.
And we'll see later how I can get this translated into English. But that's not something you need to worry about.
I'm sure you'll set up a process for it. I think so. Let's just assume you.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll figure out how it works somehow. Very nice. Yeah, as you can see, if you're watching, we are here. In Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, at the beautiful Lake Fließensee, enjoying a bit of vacation. But we'll talk more about that in a moment. Let's start with a check-in first. Yes, absolutely. Just like on an airline. Window seat or aisle?
Honestly, both. It always depends on my daily routine. I am on the move in the company, and it depends on if I have a tightly timed flight or appointment, then I am actually sitting. Prefer the aisle seat, so I can get out quickly. Ideally, I book a seat as far up front as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
If it's a bit more relaxed at a longer flight, then I like the window seat because I have one of my powers or superpowers is that I can fall asleep on a plane really quickly. And then I use the wall to lean against.
Yeah, that's great. I find that exhausting. And what's your favorite airport?
Hamburg, because then I know I'm coming home to my family. That's really how it is. And this year, I got to land in Tampa. A small, very digital, but still nice airport. And very much like a regional airport. But he has impressed me. I thought it was nice. It was small, but had good processes.
Okay, that's good. Probably because it was vacation too.
Yeah, it was vacation too, exactly.
Very good, yeah. So you said good processes. How would you describe your relationship with the topic of processes?
Processes relationship, you're really picking up on that. 24/7, I would say. Well, since I've been working in process and structure consulting for over 10 years now, and have been fascinated by the topic for a long time. I see everything in terms of processes. How can I document it? How can the process work? For everyone, for all. And that makes work and everyday life blend together. And that's why, for me, if I had to describe it, processes are there for me 24/7, always present.
Always keeping an eye on it, even on vacation.
Even on vacation, actually. We both got to experience that over the past few days and did a bit of geeking out.
Yeah.
It's really great to have found another process nerd here at Fließensee. And we've already had the chance to exchange ideas about the best topics here, in true classic fashion.
That was also the reason why we said, let's record something now. Exactly. We just have to talk about it. You just mentioned that you're a principal at Lumics Consulting.
That's right.
A new venture from McKinsey and Lufthansa Technik.
Right.
You guys do. How did you just call it?
Structural and process consulting.
Okay, what does that actually mean?
Yeah, so what do we actually do? So clients come to us and ask how they can actually make their company's structure or processes more efficient. And the biggest skill is really to analyze first. It's like when I go to a doctor, I don't just walk in and say, I have a cough. Then he says they get the juice. Instead, you go in and say, I just don't feel right. And then he examines you first. That's exactly what we do. We start by going in first. We actually take a look at the processes. We do process mapping and check whether they even have processes in place. It happens quite often that they haven't documented any processes at all. So basically, we first take a look at the map of the processes, whether they exist or not. We conduct a lot of interviews with employees and managers, all the way up to the CEO. And we take a look at how each person experiences their process world and where they actually encounter it. And then, so to speak, we lay all the cards on the table. We basically create a heat map and take a look at where the hotspots are. Where do we need to take immediate action? Where do we have a little bit of time? And where are things already running pretty well? Then we sit down with the client and look at what the best possible solution is. Because we always say among ourselves, it's not a customer, it's a client. And what's the difference? To a customer, I sell anything, but to a client, I provide advice on what they actually need in the end.
Okay.
And sometimes that can sting a little for the clients because you get into a discussion and they say, but I want it this way because it looks nice. But in the long run, it won't make you happy. And I think that's important for both you and me. In both of our professions, it's important that we set something up that is sustainable and benefits the client or customer, however you want to call it, in the long term. That truly makes them happy. Not just them, but their entire company as well.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's an interesting distinction. Which project made you really happy? What was the coolest thing you've been able to do so far?
I've had the chance to work internationally and within the DACH region. So I have. There's always one that comes to mind. I had the opportunity to work with a large German company that's involved in standardization. You'd think, when you're involved in standardization and you're working on European and international standards for Germany, that the process would already be in place.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it was fascinating to see that there was still room for improvement, and not just a little. And I got to, and this is the best part, I had a department of 20 women that I worked with. And I have never had such a motivated, amazing team. Very often, it was like this. You'd work on certain things during the week. And the typical consultant's routine is you fly home at some point on Thursday evening, and you leave the client and the team with a few assignments. And most of the time, when you come back to the client on Monday, you realize that usually nothing has been done. But they were so committed, they would send me things on Friday showing what they had already done. They started a WhatsApp group and added me to it, and they kept discussing things further. So, they were incredibly motivated and really had a lot of fun because they truly got help to actually document their processes and really straighten them out. So they had a foundation where everyone was talking about the same thing instead of everyone talking past each other, which is how it felt before. And that was really great, and I had a lot of fun with it. And yeah, that's the awesome German project. And just recently, I had the chance to work in the European region. In Spain, we supported an airline. It was during a lean transformation. So, we were a consulting firm focused on structure and processes, and the method we use is lean management. It offers a lot of possibilities and gives us the tools to help clients work on efficiency and process improvements. And with him, we basically set up a 1-year lean journey, so to speak, and help them make their areas more efficient, so to speak. How do you achieve that? And it's not just about aircraft maintenance, but also the supply chain that goes with it. That included material knowledge, procurement, and the HR department. So really, all areas were involved, with a cascaded change management process as well. And also, so to speak, a cascaded performance management system, which was really set up from the director all the way down to the employees. And that was a lot of fun because the client was very grateful. In the end, we were able to achieve process improvements of over 50% in the pilot projects.
In terms of lead time?
Lead time and, so to speak, efficiency savings of about 30%. So, it was really, really impressive what we achieved there. Well, not us, but the client put in the work and redesigned their processes. And now the next step for them is where it gets interesting for you. These processes, of course, also need to be maintained in the long term. They need to be well documented. People need to be able to read up on them. And like everywhere in the world right now, it's not just in Germany. There's this shortage of skilled workers. And when I bring in new people, new skilled workers, if I have a good process that everyone can immediately access, then of course, I can train my employees very quickly and efficiently. And they'll be able to start contributing value to the company very quickly. That's their current task. That's the next step. We're trying to continue supporting them with that, and it really was, or is, a truly great project. It was also nice because I actually got to fly there once a month for a week, to the Canary Islands, and our company had a finca there where our employees were on site. And they were there the whole time. And I was there once a month during the winter months. Of course, it's also nice to be able to stop by there.
I'm waiting for the moment when you start modeling processes, really capturing them in the tool. Yeah, we have. I'd be happy to stop by.
Exactly. Today, just now, the two of us talked and you showed me your tool, and I was immediately excited about it. I said, that's exactly what they need. I'll be on site with the client next week, and I'll basically suggest it to him again then. And say, so this is the next step that's needed now to ensure long-term progress. Now, so to speak, to really lock it in.
Very good. So can you. From my own experience, I know that at least in the company where I used to work, the two worlds of lean and process management, let's say, really kept themselves very separate from each other. Can you give a very concrete example of what you've done when you improve processes there? Because, as I understand it, that's really very hands-on, practical, real execution. So how do I actually carry out this process? Do you have a really concrete example?
Yes. So, we always look to see if there's a process for a particular way of working, so to speak. And if there is a process described for it, we usually put that process up on a wall, somehow in the room, put up some brown paper, and map out the process on it. And then we bring in the employees and say, so this is your defined process. This is how you have it here. It's officially documented for you. Do you actually work like this? And then the first thing people usually say is, well, I mean, that's what it says here. But that's not how we actually work at all, because none of this really works that way. And then my typical question is, I'll say, okay, when you go home in the evening and you're just so frustrated because you've spent the whole day being upset about everything that doesn't work, what do you tell your wife when you get home? Well, I tell her that this doesn't work, and that doesn't work, and so on. And we record all of that. And these topics, so to speak, we then try to address with our methods, with lean management, mainly through visualization. We'll get back to that later here at our vacation spot, which we have here. So, for example, how can I visualize waste, long waiting times? So that the customer who is currently using the product always has a really good feeling. That's what we're actually trying to show. And lean management is there to make sure employees enjoy their work and that, in the end, a product comes out that is very affordable for the customer, is delivered quickly, and makes people want to get it again and again, so to speak. Yeah, that's basically our topic. When you say the process world and the lean world, sometimes they don't come together because the process world has something that's been designed. And then people like us come along and say, you designed this really well, but now it needs to be redesigned. Because that's evolution. And I think the process world, or the way of thinking in the process world, shouldn't be that something is designed once and stays that way forever. Even your tool is like that. It has to be able to adapt quickly, so that processes can be remodeled quickly, because the world keeps turning. We saw that during COVID. So many processes had to change rapidly during that time. Now, in this new phase, I'm really involved in recruiting, which we didn't do many projects in before. Right now, I always say, things are really wild. There's so much going on. And all the processes there have completely reinvented themselves. All of them. And if you're still living in an old process world, it just has to be fast and agile. My wish would be that all the process people, so shout out to you all. Be agile and fast, and try to set yourselves up so that you build a process world with that mindset in mind. A Golf 4 didn't always stay a Golf 4. After all, it became a Golf 5, a Golf 6, a Golf 7. And that's exactly how you have to think about processes too.
Yeah, okay. So that actually fits with the new process lifecycle that I use. Absolutely. That's exactly how it works. Improving execution, feeding it back into the upper lifecycle, into process design, so that it can be scaled to different locations. For example, if you optimize something in a workshop at one location, you then bring that into the global process design and roll it out elsewhere as well. That's how it should be. That's the idea behind it. Very cool. Now, you've already mentioned it here. Of course, we have a bit of an occupational hazard for you, 24/7 processes. We're here at Lake Schlesien, at the Robinson Club, which has just reopened. And let's start with the potential for improvement. What have you noticed here? What do you think could be improved when you walk through the club with your consultant's eye?
I haven't done an analysis. As I mentioned earlier, I would always do a thorough analysis, but after all, this is a vacation. Still, the topic doesn't really let go of you, and you end up using a lot of things here as an end user. Let me give you two examples. One is downstairs, in the wellness area. For example, the walking paths there are not thought out at all. That means I come out of the sauna and want to go outside to cool off. But every time, and I'm not the only one sitting in the sauna, there are, it feels like, 450 guests here at the club. And downstairs, the sauna is very crowded in the evenings. Everyone has to walk through the relaxation room. So you can basically just cross out the relaxation room for now. At the moment, it's just a room. For me, it all looks great visually, but the process flow is completely messed up. So that should really be, someone at Robinson should really think about redesigning this.
Kind of like a workshop layout.
Workshop layout, exactly. We've already talked about this. When I look at things like this, it's always nice if I have it digitized. And then I have some kind of digital mock-up, and I can walk through it digitally. But I'm still a big advocate for building it out at least once in a cardboard or wood version and actually experiencing it. And also asking the people who use it whether the process is actually really good. Yeah, that's one topic. And the other thing that both of us care about the most is the food. And here, honestly, they've really built a fantastic new restaurant. Like inside there's a new chairs. And yeah, everything turned out really nice, the lighting and everything. But the food island, where everyone actually goes, is basically a big gathering place of sadness, I would say. Because the frustration. Yeah, you fill up your plate with your food. And the first thing I put on my plate is already cold by the time I finally get the next thing, because I have to stand in line for so long, just so I can put my meal together the way I want it. And from my point of view, you immediately start seeing solutions. There's a lot you could do with visualization. You could break things up a bit. That's the kind of topic where I think there's a lot of potential. We've already seen it done in other clubs, and we've talked about it with each other too. You've also been to a few other Robinson clubs where they had different concepts that worked pretty well. Here, you can still fix it, I'd say, definitely. Nevertheless, this place is a really great club. You really like it. And in the end, we both said to ourselves, it's vacation and we have time.
Yeah, that's true. But especially that long line at the main meal, where they serve the meat and all that. And there are like 2 food stations, just so you can picture it. And the line goes past both of them, but everyone wants to go to the second one. And then sometimes there's a gap, and you can slip right in really fast.
Yeah, the percentage gap.
Awesome. So that's good. But then you get some dirty looks. That's kind of lame too, of course. Maybe they could do something about that, like have 2 lines or something. Manage it better.
There's a line. I also walk around downstairs, and now they've built a lot of new things here. Then I check out the emergency exit route. At my company, I'm also responsible for safety and occupational safety. So I'm always kind of wearing those glasses 24/7, and I checked out the routes. And also the emergency exits. Everything's been inspected and approved, and it's all good. But even there, I would have looked at it from a different perspective.
That's really fascinating. Are there also things that you really like?
Here.
Especially from your perspective.
From my perspective, what I've liked best, of course, is my conversation partner over the past few days. Thank you. We've really had some great exchanges here already. What I really like is that they've done a lot with the outdoor area here. You can really spend a lot of time outside now. We're lucky it's May now, so we can sit outside here in these great beach chairs. They've built some amazing lounges here and a fantastic outdoor area. They've also really expanded the sports area. There's a 25-meter pool for swimming, which makes me really happy. And it's really great inside too. They've done a wonderful job renovating the rooms. Everything really has a lot of flair and is visually appealing. It's a treat for the eyes. And the rest of the processes, we can still tweak a little bit. The staff is great too. I think the strongest asset a company has, besides its processes, is the employees who carry them out. And here I have Silvio, who's been here for 25 years, basically part of the club since the very beginning. I've known him since then, and I just gave him a hug again. And I told him, Silvio, for me, when I come here, you represent that sense of continuity. I see him and I know. He's the lighthouse here. I also really like that there are long-term employees here because they enjoy working with us so much as customers, guests, just interacting with people here.
Yeah, that's true. For me, it's also a place I've been coming to for 25 years. We're actually celebrating our 25th anniversary right now. And I had my graduation trip here at the hotel on the other side. And ever since then, we kept coming back here. It's kind of like Seelandorfer Strand, where I recorded the last episode, which is also a place we keep coming back to. This place is the same for me. It's like coming home. You get here, just a 2-hour drive from Hamburg, and then you're on vacation. Really, really cool. There's one more thing I especially liked. Right now, we're here as a family of 4 with the kids. 2 double rooms with a connecting door. And today, we did another really cool cycling class with you. And we have 2 showers, 2 bathrooms, 2 showers. Yeah, you can do things in parallel that way. The kids, it was so exhausting for them, but that way Nadja could use 1 shower. I went to the other bathroom. So awesome. I love that. Come on. You can get a lot done, that's true.
Absolutely.
Sports? We still need to talk about that. I actually don't do any sports at all. Well, sometimes now I do a little Peloton in the basement, just so I have a bit of stamina, so I can work out on the bike again soon. But you're planning your next Ironman. I don't know, 4th, 5th? 5th.
5th. Exactly. Exactly. So it's a hobby that's been with me for years, and I always go through phases with it. Right now, I'm in a phase where I'm getting back into training. Getting back into it, and also need to lose 30 kilos again. So you can see right now, it's at a point where a lot of people are asking, how is he going to do an Ironman? But by then, you end up losing a lot of weight again. There are also a lot of processes I go through, including physical ones. And yeah, exactly, it's my hobby that I do on the side alongside my consulting work, where a lot of people ask, how can you be a management consultant, which already takes up so much time? I also have a family, 2 kids and a wife, and like I said, I'm really happy when I arrive at Hamburg Airport and see my family. And then to also do this sport, which also takes up a lot of time.
Do you actually ride your bike to the airport?
Yes, I do when our office is in Hamburg at the airport. And when I'm in Hamburg, I really do ride my bike or I run. There's also the typical routine. I ride my bike there in the morning and then run back in the evening. And the next morning, I run there again and then ride my bike back. That way I can. The sessions and the trip back home are then from Hamburg to Lübeck and from Lübeck to Norderstedt.
The direct route.
So that I can rack up my kilometers. That's often how it goes. And actually, when I had the project in Gran Canaria, I really had my wetsuit with me there, had a racing bike, running shoes, everything. So that when I was there, I could train. And then you have to hold it like this. Yeah, you have to live that way, living efficiently. And that's also part of my job. And I can really live that out in sports as well. Designing processes precisely. I also have a coach who writes out my training plan, and that's basically my process manual.
Yeah.
So I can really do that. He structures it for me that way. I need about a year. That's how long the preparation takes. Next year, in mid-August, is my Ironman, and right now, that's exactly what's happening. I've just started training again 2 weeks ago. getting back into training. And yeah, you already got to experience one of my spinning classes.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I've already been swimming in the lake here too. I also brought my bike, so I've been cycling here and running a bit as well. And now it's all starting up again. And today I drank non-alcoholic beer and didn't eat any Kaiserschmarrn. Yeah, exactly.
I had Kaiserschmarrn and a Radler.
Yeah.
But you said you were already talking about it over lunch. This is actually a great location for a training camp. So soon, you'll be able to train for an Ironman with Henrik at Lake Fließensee.
Yeah, that's the plan. Exactly, so actually, I'm in talks here with the club and with TUI. We'll see if something like that works out. And maybe next year I'll do a training camp here. So I'm a certified B-level coach, and I also have a license for long-distance triathlon. That's something you just do on the side to brush up on everything again. Exactly, and I go to our sports club. I'm active at the sports club, and when I'm actually at home and have the time, I also teach swimming and cycling training courses for the club, and I'm also the person responsible for our club apparel, where I just quickly put something together using ChatGPT. And I just sent out a new price list for the club and an email letting everyone know that we'll be getting new club apparel this year as well. So, vacation is also a time to catch up on all the things that usually get left undone.
Very good. And what would you say from your Ironman? History and experience. What can you transfer to this topic? Processes in your work? Are there things you can transfer over?
I think what's really important is that you have a goal. That's the same with processes. So where do I actually want to go? What do I actually want to achieve with my processes in the end? I think that's the most important thing of all. And then you have to break your goal down. It's exactly the same for me. And then you have to set up a plan. And I think if you want to have a good process landscape, you have to start at the top level and then break it down. And the problem is, and I think you know this, that a lot of people start right at the bottom level and then somehow get confused and tangled up. And my actual tip is, first think about what you actually want to do, where you actually want to go. Get in sync with yourself and also with your environment. Just because one person wants processes, that doesn't mean everyone else wants them too. And I think you have to do it together. With Ironman training, for example, I have to get my family on board so they can participate too. That's why, for me, it's more like every 2 or 3 years that I do something that extreme. And that would be the same if I were to create a process map or introduce new processes now. It's exactly the same in my company. I can't run 1,000 projects and then just introduce new processes on the side. Instead, I have to put my full focus on one topic, and that would really be this. This thing where you go all in, like with Ironman training, or go all in. Now I'm really going to do process modeling and set up my processes. That's not something you do on the side. You really have to immerse yourself in it. And once you've done that, then you're the king. I always say, whoever has a good process is king. It's really true, because it helps you with so many things. You can always fall back on it and say, this is really good.
Yeah, cool, very nice. See, it was worth it to be here. Before we go eat, is there anything else you absolutely want to share with our listeners? Something they should remember? Now, from this little flight we're taking right now?
From our little flight we're having right now. I think if you like processes and you also enjoy your work, you just can't turn that off. That's something we both just realized. So what I want to share is, if you find people like Mirko or me who really, for whom our job, this is really my passion. Honestly, it's true. I wake up in the morning and I'm incredibly happy that I get to do this job. And I think if you find people like that and get to work with them, people who really do this out of a sense of calling, then you're doing everything right if you work with them or with me.
So, if someone wants to work with you, where can they find you? How can people reach you?
Well, you can just go to the website, of course. It's Lumics Consulting. Just type that in. And please, Lumics with AC, not with an X, because otherwise you'll end up with some lamp company in Berlin or something. So, Lumics with AC, that stands for Lufthansa and McKinsey Consulting Evolution. That's what Lumics stands for. It's the abbreviation. Exactly, and that's where you can find me. You can also find me on LinkedIn, and I'm sure you'll put it there too.
Link in the show notes and all that.
Link in the show notes. I'm always happy to expand my network. I already have a pretty big one, and I'm always up for exchanging ideas with anyone. I'm happy to talk about any topic.
Very cool. Well, then I'd say let's wrap up our flight here. We've already landed. Give food right away.
Oh, yes. Yeah, time to get in line.
Exactly.
And we still need to create a process gap for ourselves.
To wrap up, how would you describe this little flight we had here in 3 words?
Entertaining, charming, and effective.
Very good. Then we can go eat. Yes, wonderful. Henrik, thank you so much for flying with me.
Take care.
Looking forward to food. On that note,
Same here.
see you soon. Bye. Ciao.